Welcome to Venture with Joe and Cody, where we take a deep dive into the minds of leaders and innovators making a real impact today. I'm Joe.
And I'm Cody. And we're here to bring you the raw stories, the successes, and the setbacks that these trailblazers have experienced in their journey to where they are today.
Every week, we sit down with a new guest who's ready to share their insight and advice on business, entrepreneurship, and making a difference in their community. From local community members to industry experts, you're going to get the unfiltered truth behind their success.
So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned professional, or just curious about the business world, join us for a journey of learning and inspiration.
So let's grab a drink, settle in, and let's get started. This is Venture with Joe and Cody. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Venture with Joe and Cody. I'm Joe Skipper. I'm the owner of Skipper Realty Group, and I'm brokered by eXp out of Oregon. And as always, I'm with my friend Cody Wilhelm with Residential Mortgage, and he lives up in Washington but serves multiple areas, correct?
That's right.
Multiple
That's right.
states.
I actually just got an email the other day from our compliance department about updating my email signature because we've added more states and my email signature is not quite up to date.
Do you get a lot of out of state? Like, it's kind of nice that you guys have the ability to, flex with people that you've worked with clients, maybe moving it to or from where you live. And then when they want to move back or when they want to move somewhere else, or, you can kind of have keep a closer relationship with people no matter where they are versus real estate agents.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was a time there, especially 2021, I think, was probably the most popular time of people moving out of Oregon and Washington. So a lot of people moving to Texas. That was a really popular place, South Carolina, just some southern areas. So it was definitely nice. Prior to that, it was, a lot of people seem to be moving here. So yeah, it's nice for that kind of, I guess you call it client retention.
Yeah.
Being able to, when you do have people that reach out and they're not in the area, more than likely I can help them. I do get some every once in a while though, where it's just a state that I know we're not in and we're probably not likely going to be in, but I think we're in like 15 states now. So
that's nice.
Yeah, it makes it nice.
Must be nice, man. We've talked about that, but real estate, I can't really go. Like, I have this. So my mom has a neighbor selling her house. It's a over $1 million, I think $1.2 million house. It's a beautiful house in Arizona. And the agent didn't stage it. It's just vacant. And they haven't been getting hits. And the agent is blaming it on, they've been
the market.
People have been nitpicking the house. And because all they can see is vacancy. So when you go into a house, like every agent's thing is like, you need to make the house the most presentable, like make it look like someone wants to live there, get people in that emotional state. And staging is like a critical thing for, especially a $1.2 million house. So she has it just empty. So everyone walks in and is like, oh, I don't like this paint color, or I don't like this, because they have nothing else to look at. And so anyways, my mom was saying that this agent is because our company does it. Like, if you're a $1.2 million listing, we will do the staging. And so it's normal. And so even if you told your client to pay for it, which I don't agree with personally. Anyways, getting to the topic of out of state, I was like, man, I wish I could be registered in Arizona and just represent them, because I just feel like they're not getting the representation they deserve, because all the agents saying lower the price, lower the price, lower the price, lower the price. And they haven't given it anything to make it worth a $1.2 million house. So anyways.
Yeah. Well, that's hard too, because I know, right? Like, you go into a vacant home, and it's kind of hard to picture the size once you have your furniture in there too. Yeah. So even if there's just something in there, a bed, a coffee table, a couch, to just have an idea, because sometimes I feel like you are surprised thinking, oh, this is way bigger. And then you put your stuff in there and you're like, oh, this is not what I planned for. So,
and it's an emotional purchase. Like, people, it's, a house, just like a car, is not an irrational necessarily, not a rational purchase when it's ultimately made. It's made because the people like the home. And so you have to tap into that emotional thing. So any agents watching, you need to either offer a staging service or get your clients to stage, even if they have something in their home. So that's my rant. I wish I was an Arizona agent for that one deal. But I can't fly the PJ over every time to Arizona to, start.
Why? Come
Like,
on.
I could, but it's just, it just wastes the gas a little bit. So I
Sure.
need
Yeah.
multiple multi-million-dollar homes to justify my private jet over to Arizona. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's only for the best.
Maybe a Cessna, maybe like a little 4-seater or
Hey, there you
something,
go.
you gotta
Yeah.
start slow. But
Get
anyways,
like a
yeah.
little paddle boat. Work your way down there.
Well, yeah, but is there a river like that gets us to there?
You might have to hike a little bit and then go to the next river.
It's not worth it, man. Not worth it. Maybe I can do remote agency. Like maybe I can be a remote, like I can start taking advantage of this, like, mobile culture, that I don't need to be there. I can take care of it all by phone. Me and you take care of our business here,
Yeah.
So why do we need to see
You
each
just
other?
knock out. I mean, what is it? Probably, what do you got? Like 90 hours or something to get your license there?
Yeah.
So you can do that in like within the week.
Yeah, I think so. Anyways, that's going to be my next thing, is see if I can be a mobile agent.
I like it. Yeah.
If people only knew, though, man, I harp on this so much. If people only knew how terrible some agents are, it's just like so accepted, that people are like, yeah, my agent sucks, and that's life, because that's how it should be. And I'm like, you would never say that about any other career. I get mad if I go to a service, like if I go to a restaurant and someone's rude to me, like. But then it's like you have an agent that you pay like thousands upon thousands of dollars for a sale or a purchase of a home, and you're like, meh, they were okay.
Yeah.
Like they didn't really know what they're doing. I'm like, what is going on with our agency?
I know. I've heard that, and I hear it on the lending side a lot too, of just, which is great for us if, we do a good job and we're going to get that repeat business. And sometimes you get those people that are like, just had a horrible experience with somebody else. And then I don't know if it means that we do a really good job or if the other person set the bar so low.
I know
that now we just do what we do and it seems like it's exceptional, but yeah, it's unfortunate because people pay a lot of money for a home and you want to feel like you want to feel really good at the end, not just with the house itself, but the process of it all.
Yeah. And it was weird, even in the law enforcement world. It was like, things that, and we're just not here to honk our own horns here, but like things that came just naturally, just be a normal person. I'm not doing anything out of the norm. Like I'm not like, I don't have some secret of the trade of how to become a real estate agent. It's like treat people with respect, communicate, treat the other side with respect, like be a social human being, and you should be pretty good at it. But oddly enough, it's in our field, in our line of work, which is one of the main requirements, is to be social and to talk to people, seems to be missing in a lot of agents. Yeah. Crazy talk.
It is.
Well, I'm not going to Arizona, so for that, but we can talk a little bit. I kind of wanted to just talk a little bit about side hustles, and more specifically, because side hustles, especially on social media, like I get down that rabbit hole. TikTok is great. If you look at a video for more than 5 seconds, TikTok's like, he loves those videos. And so those side hustle videos, I don't know if you follow stuff on TikTok, and I don't follow anything, but I'll stop and like listen to the people that are like, this is how you get $1,000 a day doing nothing, sitting on your butt, and so I start to get intrigued by that. And yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I think also combined with that is agents have called me recently that want to start part-time in real estate and kind of asking the advice. They've seen my YouTube videos of me starting part-time in real estate and talking about it. So I guess, where do we start? I kind of wanted to see what's your thoughts just in general about having a side hustle in our line of work. Like what's your general thoughts like when you think about that? Is that something you'd recommend to someone, or do you think it's kind of hurting them?
I think overall, depending on what it's for and how much time it ends up taking, if it's something, because I've ran into this with people, new loan officers that are starting out that are wanting to do that, right? They have the ability to be able to continue their previous career
all the time.
At sort of a part-time level, as needed. And I tell them, and I feel the same way for myself, is as long as it doesn't take away from the focus of your main job. If doing, say in my case, mortgages, if that is your main job, then I'd really prefer that that's taking like 90% of your time and energy. Sure. So if it's just a matter of like whatever your side hustle is, doing it kind of outside of those hours or just like little bits here and there, I think you can really be still good. But I think from what I have seen, if it's like 50-50, you're not really into, say, the mortgage or the real estate side. You're like kind of in and you're kind of getting a little bit of momentum. But if you figure it takes you a couple years to get going and you're only doing it 50% of the time, then in theory, it's going to take you twice as long to really get up and running. So I think it's a good kind of transition, kind of like what you did, where it's like you're getting things figured out, but there is that point where you have to choose, like, am I going to commit to this career or am I going to commit to this career? I mean, we've talked about it. I do some handyman stuff on the side and it's great, but I have to tone it down because
you don't let it get involved in the primary career.
Yeah, you can't. And that's the hard thing too, is especially with that type of work, I don't really feel like you have to do that great. It's like what we were talking about. Good communication, good service, treat people right, charge them at a fair rate. And before you know it, you're starting to get more and more calls. And it's like, oh, this is great. But at the same time, I can't realistically keep doing this because it's a good problem to have, but that's not where I want my focus to be. That's like something that if I can just knock out a few things here and there, it's some extra money, whatever it might be. But I think if it's really a truly part-time, it can just be really hard, I think, for the commitment side of it, the mental commitment side of it more than anything.
For sure. And I don't think you're really good at it. You can't be good at two. You can't be a jack of all trades, really. And you can, especially in our world where it's so time intensive with each client that you don't want to be the person that's like, hey, sorry, I can't answer your question about a loan right now. Or, hey, sorry, we can't go see a house right now because I have my other job. But I can see it on Friday at whatever, and I want to caveat my part-time experience. I could say all this now because I'm not with them anymore, but I got kind of lucky with my part-time. So first off, I was a state trooper and it was COVID, and it was leading up to COVID. It wasn't all COVID, but it was leading up to that. And I was in a unique position that when COVID hit, I wasn't a regular patrol officer. I wasn't on the road doing stuff. So I was with the governor's security detail. And she was locked away, so everything we did on a daily basis was inside a facility with no one in it. And we're just sitting there on calls or Zoom calls and so she was doing Zoom calls and doing all the stuff handling COVID. Well, as our security team, we were in a secure locked facility within a locked floor within a locked, so there was nothing, there was very little to do, which allowed me to have a full-time job. However, I could spend a lot of time on the research of real estate, on the follow-up with clients, on the, setting up scheduling, getting things scheduled. And towards the end, I even had my teammates help me out with that stuff to say, hey, if you need tomorrow off, take it off because we're not doing anything besides sitting here. It's not that time intensive in the sense of going out to events and what we used to do and be able to protect her through those sort of things. So I kind of got lucky. I was full time, but it was during a perfect time to be able to be part-time in real estate, if that makes any sense. So I think people that have that, like, hey, you got to be here 9 to 5, you've got to fill out all these, you have a task list of things you do when you come to the office. I think that would be much more difficult to go full-time and part-time real estate.
Yeah.
I was lucky because I was available via call at the very least at any time or text anytime and wasn't hindered by that full-time job to help clients. Because as you remember, COVID was nuts for selling and buying.
Yeah, it was.
The rates. And so, and that kind of, again, the timing was perfect for me most people don't go into a half-time job and get so busy with that half-time job that they have to make a jump. Eventually, you just have to make a jump without that convenience. I was lucky enough to be slow on my full-time job and very busy on the part-time one to where I could make that jump and say, man, if I keep this up, I will replace that income of my full-time job. So people I have called a couple times recently saying, like, you did it. What happened? How did it work? I think mine's a little unique. Don't you think? Like than that traditional, hey, show up to Intel from 8 to 5, and you have to produce,
Yes. Because I think that's where a lot of people probably end up being, where it's like, oh, I'd love to do real estate or get into this, but that primary job that they currently have ends up taking so much time that it's really hard. And like you said, you can't just pick and choose when you're available to your clients, because then it's not helping them and it's not helping you and your image either.
For sure.
So I think having a part-time job of some kind paired up with that is flex, like Uber drivers, things where you can pick and choose when you want to do it. Great, extra money. But I think if it's something where you're really splitting your time throughout the week, I think ultimately it just ends up being, you're just going to question it so much more,
For sure.
because a lot of people are going to probably not have the same path that you had. It's going to be, do I make this jump? Do I do it? Or do I wait until I get busy enough to where I'm comfortable doing that? But then that's always hard.
And I don't even know
Maybe
if
in
that
it.
I don't know if that happens. A COVID
No.
time it might, but
Yeah.
I don't think that is regular in our world to say I'm so busy working part-time with with this. I'm so good at it that
Yeah.
I can leave my job and feel completely comfortable. I don't even think I wasn't comfortable, and I was at that point where I could theoretically at the time do it, and I was like, man, I don't know. Like I don't know if I should do
Yeah.
it. So, but
It's
I
hard to leave
also
a steady paycheck.
absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think having said that, I've told everyone that's asked me is like you have to treat this like a business. You can't dabble in real estate. The people that dabble in real estate can sell 5 homes a year. That's fine. And make a little side money. It'll cover your costs of renewing your license. It'll give you maybe a travel funds, whatever you need to do. If you're looking people see the selling sunset. They see the local real
Yeah.
estate agent that's driving the Lamborghini like they see that stuff on social media and like I could do that. And it's like
Yeah.
those you see the end result of their work, not what they're doing now. Like you see
Right.
what they had to do to get there. And so I caution all agents. I'm like, I know I did part-time, but I think if you want to if you want to be truly successful, you've got to go, you've got to jump
Yeah.
all in just to be
Well,
knowledgeable about it at the very least.
totally. Yeah. And I think that image of what you do and what I do, because they're very similar. Obviously, they're different
Hmm.
products that we're providing, services that we're providing, but it's a similar kind of business model where I think people see the end result and they're like, oh, that would be really cool to be able to do that. But what they don't realize is you have to be the one to go out and market all that. You have to go out and find the client. You have to build the relationships. The deals don't just flow into you and you're just the person that, oh, let me work up some numbers for you and get that out to you. It's like you got to go find those people. And when you don't make any money.
For sure.
And it's
And if you're not constantly doing it, if you're not being consistent in your marketing and getting people, you end up failing in the industry. And
yeah.
I think that's why I see agents looking for the side hustle. There's so many comments on social media about I'm struggling this year. I'm not making the commissions I thought I could make. Is there a side hustle that I could do? And
Hmm.
I think we're both in agreement that I think that's a short-term solution to a long-term problem.
Yeah.
Yes, you could make a few $1,000s doing a side hustle, but again, you're taking away from your business that you
Right.
want to be in. If you don't want to be in real estate, it's one thing, but if you want to be in real estate and be successful, if you have the ability to, you've got to spend that money that you'd spend on a side hustle and
Hmm.
do what needs to be done to produce in your own business
Right.
versus the side hustle. I think
Yeah.
we all look for that quick, easy solution, and some people need it. A lot of agents are struggling in this economy, and
Hmm.
so I get where they're coming from, but it's like I just don't know if that's a solution. If you like it, maybe if you're like, hey, I got plenty
Sure.
of time. I have streamlined my business, so it's so amazing that
Yeah.
I've got 8 hours a day. I can
Yeah.
spend on a
I'm
side
freed up.
hustle.
I'm
I'm
good to
like,
go.
good for you. That's amazing, but I
Yeah.
don't think I could. It stresses me out
No.
thinking about it.
Yeah, it's just too much time, and again, I think it takes away from, if the business isn't going where you want it to go, I mean, the best thing that you can do is invest more time and energy into that rather than finding a side income that helps to ease that pain, but it doesn't fix the problem. And I think you know, that's where I've been with doing the handyman construction stuff. It's like, oh, this is great because I can kind of fit this in. But it takes away from that time that you could otherwise be working on building your main business. It's like this fixes a problem for this month, but it doesn't fix things overall for the
For sure.
business, for what you could be doing. Even if that's not producing you loans or
Right away.
listings
Yeah,
that month, it's setting up your processes, it's
for sure.
getting things more dialed in that otherwise you're now not doing. So yeah, it's a tough balance. And like you said, you'd have to be so dialed in that you
I
had the
know.
time. And if you were that dialed in, you would have the business and you wouldn't want to be,
You wouldn't
you'd want
wanna
to
be
be
doing that.
using that
Yeah,
free time
spending
to do
time.
what you want to do.
Yeah, yours is unique, like, 'cause your handyman stuff is it's almost like that sort of stuff, especially well, similar to the real estate world is it's all referral based. And so
Yeah.
with like dabbling in the handyman thing, like if you're good at it, you're going to get more
Yeah.
clients and more
Yes.
clients and more clients wanting you. And you're like, again, where do you stop? You know, you're like, I
Yeah.
just wanted to do this one thing for my
Right.
friends or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
That's probably that field is probably even harder to dabble in because dude, there is a very big need for good quality construction people, like good
I
quality.
realized that really quickly.
Yeah.
I talked to my brother-in-law. He's a contractor. He has been forever. And when I was talking to him about it, he was saying the same thing. He's like, just so you know, if you do a good job and you communicate well and, you know, treat people how you want to be treated with this, you're probably going to get more business than you want. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, sure. That's
and you saw it, and then you have to turn that down, and then you lose it, and then you're
continually turning things down because it turns into, hey, can you come take a look at this little thing? And then can you do this too? And I'm like, I can't spend weeks at your house. Like I can come knock some stuff out on the weekends or maybe in the evenings, but I can't, it's not fair to you. And I can't be doing this throughout all my day. And it's a great problem to have.
I know.
But at the same time, it's like what you're hoping for. But at the same time, you realize, okay, this is just such a temporary thing. It's not even really worth the time.
Have you even because you were in construction before, have you ever thought about getting back into it, or are you like mortgage for life?
I'm mortgage for life. Construction is definitely my second most favorite thing work-wise to do. So if I never got into this, I would still be doing construction. I love all forms of it. I just think it's really fun and you're constantly learning and it's awesome. But it's also just really hard on your body. Yeah. And that was really ultimately kind of what got me out of it is I had people that were older than me that were nice enough to tell me to like get out of the business, go do something else. Like don't beat your body up. Don't get to the point where we're at, where we're in our late 40s and this is all we've ever known. Yeah. And our bodies are just falling apart. And so I was glad to hear that. But, you know, there's that part of me that's like, I would like, if I say I won the lottery and I was no longer working full time, I would probably find myself doing some type of construction related thing, just taking on projects, flipping houses, doing whatever. It's just a fun, hands-on building things. It's something fun to me. So it's something that I'm always doing, but no, for work purposes, for my career choice, it's mortgage.
I feel like that's a rewarding field. I'm terrible at construction. And so I don't even want to say construction. I'm terrible at any to do like of that sort of realm. I don't even want to go up to I feel like construction's a higher level talk than what I do. But yeah, I can see that like actually fixing things like that would be pretty fun. But yeah, my buddy's dad, I think he might still do it. I'd have to talk to him, but really, I think he's in his 60s or 70s even doing construction. Successful, but yeah, you got to do construction. I know it's a physical gig. It is. And so, and he said the same thing. It's like, it wears your body down so much. It does. And I'm not in bad shape. I wouldn't say I'm in good shape. Like I'm not fat, but I'm not like working out all the time. And whenever I work on something that is say 2 or 3 days in a row, even if it's just something at our house, and I realize how sore I get, I'm like, man, if I did this every day, I'd just be a wreck. I know that's like playing basketball with Rory out in the front area, like the street. I'm like, I'll come back the next day. I'm like, man, that muscle hurts. I was like, what was that? I was like, oh, I played with my 12-year-old in basketball. So I can't imagine doing all that construction. But yeah, anyways, I would generally say, and you know, if you have to do part-time, do part-time. But I just don't think for building a business, like no one goes into, you know, hey, I want to build a Red Robin. I want to build a Red Robin franchise and says, I'm just going to do it part-time until it's successful. Right. But it's just, I think mine, and we've talked about this so much, but I think my field more than yours is such an easy entry. A couple $1,000s, you know, the market's good. You can make that up in a sale, you know. Sure. It's so easy to get into, and the shows are the killer of us of like bringing in agents that are not ready and not qualified to do what they're doing. Is like, man, it's like my state only charges this much money for this real estate license, and I can be like selling Sunset and sell like multi-million-dollar properties. Like, I'm doing that, and then they get struck in the head real fast when they're like they're left on their own and they don't have those clients coming into them. Yeah, they have to make the phone ring instead of it just ringing all the time. I know. I know.
Yeah.
That wasn't a wake up call to me, but man, it's a constant, like, it's not a struggle, but it's a constant stress running a business like this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like you switch stresses when you go from a full-time job that someone pays your salary and pays your pension
Yeah.
to like your own job where you just stress about you have to supply your own paycheck
Yeah.
and your own pension and like
Right.
and you can work like literally you could work all day and still not be done with what you could do.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're getting off
Yeah.
topic a little bit, but
It's funny that you say that, because my wife and I were just talking yesterday about the mortgage business, and she had told me, she's like, it's so crazy that you've stayed in this for so long,
mm-hmm.
because prior to that, I did construction jobs for most of my young adult life. And then once I had those people that told me to get out of it, I started trying other jobs that were not construction related. And it would be like a year into it, I'm like, I'm just so bored with
Yeah.
this, and I don't like it. I don't want to move up here. So I would job jump, and then I got into this business, and it was just like what you're talking about. Like, you're constantly looking for more business because you're never satisfied. Even if you have a good month or a good year, it's like, well, what do I have for next month?
Yeah.
And that never stops. So it never gives you an opportunity just to say, oh man, I'm so tired of just clocking in and clocking out. You're like, today's a new day and I don't know what to expect. I don't know where I'm going to get my business from, but I have to execute these things. And I think it just kind of, if you're wired that way, where you can run your own business and you can wake up with a new attitude. If yesterday sucked, like, you got to have a new attitude that today's a whole new day, and going to move on.
But man, the freedom that comes with it's great.
It
not
is
freedom necessarily to say, I can, start work at 12 and be done by 2 at this point. But
right.
It's like, you just have the freedom to make your own life,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what's
Go
cool.
to your kids' events whenever you want. You can go whatever. Like,
set your financial goals, set your time goals, set your whatever, freedom goals, set your vacation goals. And rather than wait for your company to pay you,
right.
for that, you can work towards it, and whatever you work towards, then you can achieve that without. And that's what I found with the state was like, no matter how good of a cop I was always going to make the same as the worst cop that's at the same age as me, or same level as me. So it's like, it's not a very good incentive program for people to be like, well, if this guy doesn't do anything and gets paid the same amount, why do I do something? And so that's what I found was like, you just weren't, and not that you have to be rewarded. That's like, it's not a field that you should be like, I need paid more, but it was, your success was dependent on your time on, it wasn't dependent on your actual success, or achievements within the field. And with real estate, you can drive your own success or lack of whatever you determine. So,
well, and I think that's how you get the most out of people is there has to be some form of incentive, whether that's moving up to be the manager or the regional manager or owner or whatever.
The regional manager.
Yes, exactly. Something has to be drawing you to do a better job, because after a certain amount of time, I think most people are just going to get complacent and they're just going to do the bare minimum and collect their paycheck and keep doing that over and over.
And that's that you'd see a lot, and not necessarily in the police world. There was always the stragglers, but in state work, I was like, we could go on to another whole other topic of state work, and I'll probably get all this feedback of how negative I am towards it. But it didn't reward. It rewarded mediocrity. It was all just based on how long you've been there, not how good you are. And so that doesn't reward good behavior to me.
Right.
Anyways, other topic. So now that we say don't do a side job, I'm going to look up the side jobs, side hustles. Okay.
Yes.
I got to put on my old man glasses here.
Yep. Okay. Get those magnifying glasses on.
Let's see what they don't like quite make my eyes like super large, like true nerd, but they're there a little bit. So, okay. So let's see. Can you see my stuff? No. Okay. Let me see if I can share this for you.
I mean, I can see you, but if you're sharing the screen, I can't see anything.
Okay. Now you can.
Yes. Now I can.
Okay. So Forbes
Look at that.
has 3 AI side hustles that pay up to $100,000 in 2025.
Okay.
So maybe we are going to leave and start doing this. If it's a side hustle at $100,000.
And it's
AI.
These
are all AI. So AI consulting, it's a relatively new player, blah, blah, blah. What does it do? What is AI?
You just teach people how to
Your work can
use
involve
AI?
advising businesses on how to incorporate AI into their technology and processes. So you're
got
basically
that.
an AI consultant, like with businesses. That's
Easy.
pretty cool.
I mean, I don't know a lot about AI. I know about
You
like
don't?
Chat GPT,
Oh, okay. I've been
but
getting pretty good at it, just trying to find
really,
companies and systems that go into our business that kind of help us to not have to. It really helps with like not having to do things that are just the mundane or the
yeah,
the things that we just are. They're just a time. They're not. They have to be done, but they're just a waste in the sense of
yeah.
time.
I mean,
8,000 to as much as 175,000 per project.
wow.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what business you're consulting for, but
Yeah,
and then we've got an AI content reviewer. So
really.
you can get paid to fact check and improve answers that AI creates. Okay.
See, that's one of those I feel like you could do that kind of stuff
Yeah,
if you've got time at night
for sure. For sure.
or when, if you're able to do it just kind of in somewhat of your free time. That's a good
Yep.
one.
I like that. $27 or up to $27 an hour, depending on your level of writing experience. Okay.
I
Okay.
only graduated high school, so I might not.
And I know what high school you went to, so
Yeah, which
that's
means I didn't really probably graduate most high schools.
man. Well, that's a whole other topic. It sounds like high schools don't really have a graduation anymore. It's just what it is. But anyways,
Okay.
it's like well, haven't you heard like with Oregon stuff? I guess they just have lowered the standard of graduation for kids each year.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
We went to, side note on this while you're going through this, we went to, I won't say the high school that our oldest is going to be going to. And they went through reading stuff out and they were like, they put a really big emphasis on our goal is to get you enough credits so that you can graduate.
Okay.
And I just thought that was kind of interesting. Like that, there was a big emphasis on that, which told me without telling me graduation rates must be really not very good.
Yeah, not great.
Because
Yeah,
I don't ever remember that message being, granted,
I know.
we're getting old, but like,
Yeah,
I feel like that was just assumed, like you will graduate.
you
Like
will.
that's not
Yeah,
part of the conversation here. It's getting the most out of you, but it was
for
like,
sure.
we need you to graduate. So please
I
just
know.
get a
Please
D or
do.
better.
Yeah, I know. It's sad. Anyways, 3 is AI powered marketing consultant. So this looks like it's just marketing professional to use AI, using AI to start an AI powered marketing business. So yeah,
I
you
like
can
it.
use AI. You can make the only limit to your money is your imagination. So
Well, that's unlimited.
yeah. So anyways, I just saw that and thought that was
Wow.
interesting.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk to Eli about that. He's kind of brainstorming on what he wants to do with his life post school. So, hey, maybe AI is where he needs to be plugging into.
Oh, but having said that though, I was just like, and I forget what podcast I was listening to, but they were talking about how AI is like, it's almost, people are comparing it to the tech bubble. Like everyone's putting a ton of money and resources into AI, and it's getting to the point where I think AI will be around, just like the tech and the,
Sure.
the WW do all the stuff, all the tech stuff back in the day. But I think they were saying like the amount of money invested is not meeting what is needed. Is too much for what is actually going to happen with AI. Like we're all over invested in it monetarily, and that it could be a bubble that's like an AI bubble that pops because a lot of businesses, a lot of investors are putting a ton of money into AI, and it's not going to be as expensive as they thought. So, anyways, I'm not an expert in that, but I heard something about it, and that's an interesting thought because if that much, like they were saying, like millions and billions of dollars being put into AI research and figuring out, all that stuff. And it's like, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just another, tech bubble.
Well, and that could very well be too, because AI, from everything, the little bit that I've seen and follow, it seems like it continues to get cheaper and easier and making things more cost effective. So it's like as AI gets better, it makes the AI better and cheaper and easier. Sure. So that would make sense.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we helped anyone today, but we talked. So that's good.
We helped ourselves. Yes. And that's really
to sum it up, I would say, look, a side hustle, it could be a good thing. Could be, you just have to be very careful on where you want your business to go because you could take too much time in your side hustle and not be spending enough time in your business. So if it is a means to an end and you just have to do it to cover things until you kind of ramp up your business, yes, it's possible. But there's going to be a time where you have to jump and you're not going to feel comfortable jumping. But because if you think you're just going to make 20 sales in a 6-month period, I'm sorry to say, it's probably not in the cards unless you have a construction buddy that just built a new development.
Right.
But yeah, so I would say, hey, if you have any questions, talk to Cody or I. Will kind of help you with what's going on in our world and see if we can guide you if you have any questions. So anyways, my man, well, till next time.
Yep. I like it.
Yeah, we'll chat with you later.
That sounds good.
Okay. See you, man.
All right. See ya.